Welcome to the Faction Champions. Okay, this is actually a very hard video to show you anything really useful. There's 25 of you and 10 of them, all in frantic PvP. The 10 mobs that appear are on a random 10 from what it would seem are 14 possible combinations of race, class and spec. According to our wiki, the combinations you can get are Death Knight, Moonkin, Druid Healer, Hunter, Mage, Healer Din, Retrodin, Holy Priest, Shadow Priest, Rogue, Shaman Caster, a Melee Shaman, a Warlock and a Warrior. I'm not entirely convinced that this list is the total list yet. Rumour would have it that there are also combinations like Discipline Priest and Protection Warrior. In either case you can see what we had at the start. Also remember to check before they arrive that your team is standing to the north of the instance entrance. If you don't, then chances are you're going to body pull and wipe because they're going to drop down onto where you're standing. Now the health of each enemy ranges from, I think it was about 411,000 to about 2.5 million. You get the obvious extra enemies in the form of pets from the Hunter and Warlock. The Warlock pet eats buffs, so you need to watch out for that. Shamans drop totems that have about 5 health each. And now we've seen this fight close up, I'd be tempted to macro in the names of the totems for quick removal and have a player on totem duty. To be honest, probably myself with a macro that checks for the name of the current target, and if it is one of these named totems, then cast Ice Lance, otherwise Fireball. Now, in case you're wondering whether to bring your resilience gear, if you've got any, and I don't, or maybe PvP trinkets, well, there's no real need. Your ability to supply burst damage is the most important thing here, and resilience, all these PvP trinkets will actually slow that down. Make sure you've got an MA, that's a main assist to those that don't use one. Also make sure that your MA's laptop, unlike ours, can handle the graphics so they don't constantly DC. Hey Shred. Anyway, unfortunately this attempt was done yet again without an MA, and I was surprised we actually managed to kill them, but we did, and I was actually quite chuffed. Now, I'm kind of useless at PvP, as you can, well, you've probably already found out by now. It's too many targets and my mind's all over the damn place. I'm also trying out a few things whilst trying to learn the encounter, hence the low DPS. However, you do get more time alive than in traditional PvP, so as long as you're careful you'll be alright. More time in fact, in which to think about how you can help the raid survive the encounter. So, tips. What tips can I give? Well, we started off with a countdown by simultaneously sapping the Rogue and the Shadow Priest over on the right hand side. Somebody with high health and good armour then moves in to get their attention, whilst 2 sheeps are unleashed on their Warrior and Death Knight. Now remember, this is PvP and not PvE. That means that CC isn't going to last very long. Also remember that subsequent applications of the same CC incurs the wrath of diminishing returns. After a couple of CCs on your target you can forget doing it again, so focus on your MA's target and burn it down fast. Use CDs whenever they're up, use mirror images with mages, everything you've got. Use heroism immediately to give you every advantage you can get. The fight is hardest in really the first 10 to 20 seconds of the fight. As soon as the first lot of CC wears off and you really can't use it again. It does get easier, obviously, each time an enemy dies, so long as enough of your team is left standing. And as the fight wears on, in certain circumstances you might wish to CC secondary targets, but it all depends on how well you're doing. That can be quite tricky and you need really fast reaction players to do it. Our intended kill order, though we didn't quite stick to it, was first of all both healers, then the Rogue, Shaman, Warlock, Shadow Priest, Warrior, Hunter, Death Knight, and then the Healer Din. Ranged, stay ranged when it comes to that Warrior. He's got a nasty whirlwind that will eat your clothies if you let him. I think we also had entangling roots on him as well to help at the beginning, just to keep him out of the way. Players with fear use it in an emergency. Ag is so random here that chances are by the time the fear is worn off, your enemy will be targeting somebody else. That's the thing. Any player with dots, cast them on pets. They have they've got very little health and they'll soon die. They might be resummoned, but that's time away from DPS by either the Lock or the Hunter. It can also be interrupted, the resummon anyway, so that'll give you more time. You might want to use macros again with pets' names, so you've got quick targeting before you go back to your main assist to DPS them down. What else did we do? We put, I'm not sure if we did or we didn't, but there was a suggestion to put the Rogue on the Healer Din. One Rogue can pretty much lock down any healing from that target. It's really worth the DPS loss from one player to remove their ability to heal from that player. I'd also recommend, and I didn't think we did this, but thinking retrospectively, it might be a good idea to have anybody who can ranged interrupt a spell, so silence, counter spell, etc., to have a focus target set to one of their casters. Now, interrupting abilities is much of a part as PvP as fighting itself, even more critical in fact. So make sure you give yourself every possible advantage before you start the fight. Therefore, everybody with a ranged interrupt can see the focus target casting and just knock it out before casting back onto the main target. The rest of what you do in PvP, you more ardent PvPers out there will know already, and to a far better extent than I do. So feel free to post on this video with any extra handy tips you've discovered. I'm all ears. Ta-ta, good luck, and we all hope that you take them down.